Welcome to the Dino Cinema. We're back with another Hat Atelier reaction. We are going to be watching episode 6 today. Last week was my longest reaction so far. I had a lot to say. I kept thinking that, like, after the recording, that the part where I was talking about, like, the Star Wars parallels was the part that took up the longest runtime in the video, but it was actually the other parts that were studying, like, the episode itself, like the parts where I was going frame by frame with some of the shots. I was talking about, like, some of the characterization and stuff. That was, like, all the stuff before I thought about the Star Wars parallels. Those actually took up the most runtime. The actual reactions for these videos take up, like, 12 to 13 minutes at best. The rest of it is just me, like, just yapping about it. Of course, that's for the YouTube side of things. That's after I've edited everything down for copyright. Coco showed a very unorthodox, but no less productive way to deal with their predicament last episode, the dragon. Of course, Kiefer had to come in anyway to end up beating it, but she did get them pretty far. And we finally saw a the brimmed cap is very, very passionate about leading Coco down the path of evil. I guess is a good way to put it. I could also say grooming, but yeah, maybe we don't do that. Because that's what Palpatine did to Anakin in Star Wars and everything. He groomed him for the dark side. I'm not the first person to use that term. I'm pretty sure George Lucas himself said that, but I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna keep saying that. And we finally saw, like, just how, like, we already knew that Kiefer was very serious about tracking down these brimmed caps. But that look that he gave Nil Noah was like, he literally shot. I feel like shooting daggers through him that doesn't even do justice. Exactly the intensity of that look. But with as much as I said last week, I don't think there's too much left for me to say this week before the episode. So let's just get into it and see what happens. That window is like damn near a stained glass window. She's doing the... It's a stained glass window without the stained glass. Is it just me, or do they look kind of off-model? Maybe it's just because they don't have on the cloaks. Like, their necks look longer than I'm used to. Could also be, like, just different animators. Sometimes that happens between episodes. That was an amazing shot. Oh, that's even better. Jesus Christ, dude, these wide shots look so good. Is she having trouble focusing lately? Hey, the opening's back. Like I said last time, I don't mind if the opening is absent in a show, so that way we can have more time for the actual story to play out. I also don't mind good openings, and this one is very good. I have the HDR turned off on my monitor because it looks weird when I try to, like, screen share on Discord, so I'm just leaving it off. So the visuals look kind of different to me, but it still looks really good. It doesn't have maybe that same, like, level of contrast, but even without it, the show doesn't need that. It just needs that super high fidelity to look amazing. I just love the colors. It's just so... The show just has such a unique feel to it. When's Coco? Yeah, wait a minute. Why doesn't she... What happened to getting a new pin? So she never... I never got to pick out a pin and called. Why not? I guess they just had to come back to the atelier to rest. Yeah. So real.
こんなところで寝ると風邪をひくよ。
急に眠気が。
ココ、ちょっとついてきてくれるか
You
な。
must become one with the book, Coco. You need to think like the book.
この辺の鍋をそろそろ開けようと思ってね。
Help, that looks too good.
一口。美味しいでしょ。2年前に作ったシチュー。魔法鍋で出来たての時間を繰り返してるから腐ってないよ。
辛いもだ。これ美味しいですよね。
その辛いもを焼いておいてくれないかな。焚き火玉の魔法がかけるようになったんだろ。
Yeah, I mean, makes sense that he'd want her to just keep working on something she already knows. Also, I added these characters, the Hat Atelier characters, to my, I made them as Mii's and added them to my Tamagotchi Life Island. Check out my streams if you would like to see that. I stream like 3 p.m. CST, Tuesdays through Saturdays. So is the idea that I guess it's gonna levitate over the fire? She doesn't have a pot or anything, she's just trying to, like, keep it there.
上手に焼けました。
わあ。一番最初に上達したのは
He does use water magic a lot.
水に濡れるのが嫌いでね。よく洗い物をサボるためにどうしようもない焦りがあって生活にしてしまうのが一番だよ。生きることより教えるのが上手い先生はいないから。
It's nice to see Kiefer being wholesome again after last episode. I mean, he was wholesome last episode too, but not exclusively. Oh, I love the food in this show. The food isn't even like... Oh my god, the way that cheese melted. Oh my god. Oh, I need to make that in real life. And by me, I mean someone on YouTube. So I can copy what they do. Anyway, I was gonna say the food in this show isn't like super realistic, but it still looks so good. It's not like overly detailed or anything.
どうしてそんなにがっかりしてるんだい?
It's not like photorealistic, I guess is what I should say. But it doesn't need to be.
僕らは
Yeah, they live in a whole different world. Aardvark squirrels. I was so focused on the food, I don't even know why they're out. Oh, they're having... Oh, just to have a picnic, okay. God, that melted cheese on top of that burgie.
雨雲の終わりだ。
These colors, dude. God, the people that have seen the manga are probably like so satisfied with this adaptation. I hope they are. Also, maybe I imagined it, but I loved like the little bit of splash that was in the water after she stepped in the grass. Or that was in the grass after she stepped. It was still damp. We finally get to see this guy.
彼女は禁止魔法の被害者で。
Is he like his partner or master?
この子は魔系団に引き渡す。
Oh, damn, okay.
待ってください。
Are they gonna fight?
行くのは許さない。とりあえず中に入ろう。彼はオルーギオ、このアトリエの見張りのマナコだ。カルンや大講堂と違って、うちみたいな郊外の小さなアトリエはつい閉鎖的になりがちだから、問題が隠匿されないように、もう一人別の魔法使い。
今まさに問題を隠匿してたやつが。
あの日、個々の記憶を消していたら、禁止魔法の書かれた絵本の手がかりも失われていた。彼女の母親を元に戻すためにも。
手がかりだって。禁止魔法を調べるのは、それは魔系団に任せておけばいいんだ。
I get the sense that Kiefer doesn't like the way the knights do things. That's why he doesn't want to give Coco to them. Because they'd probably just erase her memory just because it's what you're supposed to do. Because it's like, you know, that's the rule. Those are the rules. Yeah, erasing memories is literally in their prerogative.
Can
I just say, by the way, I just need to get this off my chest. When I was like sharing around my video, my last reaction, people were very quick to jump to the conclusion of just seeing the title and thumbnail, and people were like, well, the hero's journey is something that's explored in many stories. It's not that unique that Hat Atelier has Star Wars parallels. It's like, well, if you watch the video, you would know that I don't even compare this to the hero's, and like, I was specifically comparing this to the prequels. The prequels don't have a traditional, hero's journey. It's more of a tragedy, really. And that's more what I'm seeing parallels to here than, but people just saw Star Wars and didn't even care to think deeply about it. To be fair, that was probably my fault for making the title and thumbnail what they were. However, I couldn't come up with anything better. It was both of our faults. But at the same time, I feel like if they actually understood what it means to specifically what it would entail to put young Anakin and Coco in the thumbnail, and if they knew, like, if they actually, you know, cared to think for more than 2 seconds, they would probably get a better idea of what I meant by that, but whatever. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
ここから魔法の記憶を消すのなら、僕の記憶も消すべきだろう。
あいつらの弟子入り志願を受けたときは、お前もやっと落ち着く気になったと思ったんだが。
Wait, I like how Tedia and Richie are just like... Speaking of parallels... They're just like off to the side watching like fucking like Merry and Pippin during the Council of Elrond.
何か事件が起きたらすぐ大講堂に報告するぞ。それが見張りのマナコの役割だからな。
腕虫、どこ？腕虫、待ってそっちは。
Is that Kiki's room? Oh, it's Orugio's room. Anyone who knocks will be cursed.
腕虫、出ておいで。
Why is that that is such a like basement dweller thing to put on your door? It's like the edgy kid who hasn't moved out of his parents' house yet. Like the 29-year-old guy.
びちょびちょだったのに乾いてる。 ギオさんの魔法？
何も触るのだから触るなって。
この魔法。
Oh, it's the glowing bricks.
私が最初に魔法を好きになった魔法。雲と光る石畳。
透析堂は俺の代表作だ。
Oh, that's his original work.
この魔法は私に夢をくれたんです。
Jesus Christ. That was beautiful.
ありがとうございます。ハルーギオ先生。
俺は先生じゃねえっつの。憧れの記憶も消されちまう。
He's not a good fit for being a watchful eye. He's too soft. For what those people are supposedly expected to do, be worried about him getting replaced one day once they find out that he's been helping Keyfree hide stuff. Yeah, she's still having a hard time focusing. Overstimulated.
うるさい、うるさい。集中できない。少しくらいうるさい方が訓練になるもの。
Dealing with a little noise. Yeah, that too. I was gonna say use a spell to like block out the noise if that exists. It has to, right? They got a spell for everything.
揺らぎはあるけど、前より安定してる。これなら次の試験もすぐ受けられる。実務だって。何の音ですか？
助けてください、魔法使い。
どうしたの？雨のせいで階段川の橋が壊れちゃって。川の真ん中に筋馬車が取り残されてるみたい。
あの馬車には私の息子も乗ってるんです。
先
アガット、君たちは危ないからここで待って。
生、私も連れて行ってください。役に立ってみせます。必ず。
Maybe she's motivated by the fact that Coco was like the biggest. I mean, like they were a team when it came to the whole thing with the dragon, but Coco was like her idea was what made that whole thing possible. So maybe Agat feels she wants to try to do something on her own. This might be why she's having trouble focusing, is because that's bothering her. So what I like to do, I like to try to look for the psychological reasons behind character actions before I even see the actual answer. Whether or not I'm correct, we'll see. This show isn't exactly hard to predict so far. It's not the most, like, this show isn't like the absolute most, like, it's not the most original or unpredictable. That doesn't at all speak to the quality of a story. It really just comes to execution. So far, execution has been top notch. Okay, that episode was definitely more on par of like the first 3 episodes. Maybe more like episode 2 and 3, because episode 4, like I said, was really weird because it felt like the episode didn't feel complete, and then after seeing episode 5, it made sense because 4 and 5 were kind of like a 2-parter kind of thing. This episode felt like a complete package in and of itself. Very solid, very dense episode, without needing to be as action-packed and plot-heavy as episode 5 was. I expect on average the episodes, or at least I hope on average the episodes are going to be like this, like for this to be the quality and baseline of the show, for it to just be very chill and whimsical and progressing the story without feeling the need to be action-packed every single episode. That's sort of like the precedent that the first 3 episodes set for me, so it's kind of what I came to expect. And then we had 4 and 5, which were outliers because those were like they weren't climactic, but they were like a turning point kind of situation, I guess. There's a better way to put it, but I can't think of it right now. Whereas this episode is more of like the norm you're going to expect from this story. So I think episode 7 is probably going to be sort of like this one, where it is mostly like that baseline chill factor, but we are also going to get some action from the sounds of it with this this carriage. I don't know what's going to happen after they save it. Maybe the brim caps are good. Maybe this. That's the thing, is like this show kind of does that thing that Black Clover did, where it was like in the middle of very like slice of life type moments, like moments where it's like you don't expect anything plot heavy to go on. Suddenly, like, yeah, bam, by the way, the main villain is here. Like if you've seen Black Clover, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So far, that's kind of what this show is doing too. Like it has those chill moments, but they don't last like super long. This show has it's why I like Black Clover too, the manga. This show has really good pacing without leaning too far into being too slow or being too fast. So far, anyway. Now, I personally, if I had to choose between too fast or too slow, I would lean more towards too slow. I love slow burn stuff. I'm watching Mad Men right now. It's a very slow burn show, but I love it. It pays, like when it pays off, it pays off. And even Like the thing about slow, like the thing about good slow burn is like slow doesn't equal bad. It's just, again, it comes down to execution. Like you can have deep meaning and be thoroughly entertained by slow things. At least I can be. Yeah, like I said, this has that sort of Black Clover thing where it's like it doesn't lean too far into either one. It takes aspects from slow and fast pace, and it kind of it does each one for when the story calls for it, I guess. Like it is willing to be slow enough to take its time to have meaningful moments with the characters, but it also is willing to go into like, hey, let's, you know, like big action stuff, plots moving forward, which I really like. I really like that balance. Like I said, like I love slow burn, fast paced shows where it's just like constant, like just ADHD, just overstimulating. That stuff I'm not as huge a fan of. Speaking of Black Clover, there was that Black Clover movie, and it was like you couldn't go 10 seconds without action in that movie, and it's not a bad movie, but it just wasn't quite up my alley. Same reason I couldn't finish Dorohedoro, the anime. Maybe the manga's different, but the anime was just, I couldn't follow it. It was just moving by so fast. So it's just so like, that show was just so overstimulating for me. So I appreciate a nice balanced show like this. And honestly, so far, like I've been comparing this to Black Clover. It's not a one-to-one comparison. Because first off, I'm comparing an anime to a manga. Because the Black Clover manga, or sorry, the Black Clover anime is way too slow. It's not a good adaptation. It's not, and it's not slow in a good way. It's an example of slow, bad execution in a slow show. It's just boring. It just doesn't have the same. First off, they add filler to pad out the episodes. Sometimes they'll add just whole filler arcs. It just does not have the same. It just does not have the same aura as the manga. But this actually leans more into the slow parts than Black Clover does. Like the Black Clover manga is mostly fast paced, but it's not afraid to do more. I guess to dip its toes into more chilled out settings before something crazy happens again. But it doesn't dwell too much on that. Like the Black Clover manga does not waste a single panel. I can't say the same about the anime adaptation, unfortunately. I think I said before that I'm gonna start reading the manga for this once the anime is over, because I don't know if I can wait that long for the story to see the story progress. So I mentioned to my Tamagotchi live streams earlier. Like I said, if you want to catch my streams, you can subscribe or follow me on Twitch. Because not only do I do gaming, but I also want to try to start doing manga reading soon. I'm thinking of either doing One Piece, or I'm thinking of doing maybe Hat Atelier will be my first manga read through. We'll see. But just like last time, I think there's a lot that we can glean from skimming back through the episode and picking up on details that maybe I missed, and just analyzing the episode further. Like I said, specifically I think it was only in this opening scene, the characters look kind of off-model, but I mean, that happens in pretty much any show. You get different animators for different scenes. I wonder why Agat couldn't do that same spell that Kifri did, so she could go out to the... Well, I guess it wasn't quiet out in the rain anyway. That, and she might not know how to do that spell. Why didn't they go back to Calm to get her a pin? Because Kifri saves them from the dragon, and then I think they end up staying at an inn because it was nighttime, and I guess they can't travel by night as the zombies and creepers are gonna come out. So why didn't they just get her a pin the next day? I wonder. Why did they come back to the atelier? If that's a spoiler, like if that's addressed later, don't tell me in the comments. You should leave a comment, just not on that. But yeah, I'm mostly just thinking out loud as to like why didn't she just get the pin while she was still there? I already know what it looks like because of the opening, so I'd be curious to see what leads to her getting it. I know why, because it's shaped like the pigment stone, which is really smart. I think it's really interesting that she started getting sleepy, because granted, I get sleepy really easily because I'm always sleepy, because I live with chronic fatigue, which explains the my setup here. You know, me having to do this stuff from bed. It's easier for me to conserve energy when I do it from bed. But she's getting mentally drained by trying to force herself to do this art in a very rigid way. So it was really good that Kifri came in to show her a different approach to doing it, to showing her that you can get motivated to do art or to do magic, same thing in this show, by experiencing things in real life and learning how to integrate the magic into daily life. And that's what happened, because she's sleepy, she's trying to focus, and she's getting mentally drained, because that's what happens when you try to force yourself to do art in a way that in the only way you really know how. But you'd be surprised how much of a second wind you can get when you see it in a different way. Suddenly you're bright, you're wide awake again. Yeah, there was a lot to love about this episode. We have the struggles with the GOT, which were a smaller part. They didn't take up a lot of runtime, but they were very prevalent. Definitely setting up for whatever is going to happen in the next episode. We had the beautiful food in this. Like I said, we had Keyfree showing Coco the wonders of integrating magic into daily life activities. We had the introduction of Orugio, and a lot of this episode was, God, there was so much in this episode. It's all the backstory with the what a watchful eye is, and the Miles Morales Knights, and then we see Coco and Orugio connecting, which I wasn't expecting to happen this quickly. But I mean, seeing the magic stone, the magic path spell, I mean, that immediately, you know, it's a great way to break the ice between those characters immediately. I don't believe the dub is available for this yet, at least not in the place where I personally watch this, but I'm excited to watch the dub for this episode. I don't do the reactions to the dubs in the videos, because again, they're usually not available, but I do watch them on my own time. And I usually end up watching them with a friend who's watching the episodes for the first time anyway. And it's always nice to hear Keyfree's voice in the dub. Oh, I just realized we got to see little Keyfree here. Okay, what I love about this show is how much, because it's really interesting, because you look at a shot and you go, God, that shot is gorgeous, but then you pause it. It doesn't have the same effect when you pause a shot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's seeing the shot in motion. It's seeing the shot in motion that really paints the full picture, which is something that you can only do in animation. Don't get me wrong, you can make great still shots in anime for sure, but this one really takes advantage of the fact that it is expressing itself through movement, which is unique from the manga. And instead of just recreating manga shots one-to-one, it's leaning into the animation aspect, which is really nice. I noticed that in the last episode as well. My God, the food. Yeah, Richie's face is mine exactly, and Brush Buddy. My reaction, dude, the way this cheese melts. Oh my God, dude, help. Like, it's crazy how delicious it looks, despite not being photorealistic. God, I want that burger so bad. I hope somebody has or will find the recipe for this. IRL. I need this. I'm just gonna make this for my roommates, not explain it. Not explain what it's from or anything. Yeah, I called out Orugio's characterization pretty much immediately, because it was a dynamic that I very much have seen a lot before, where it's like, Keyfree is the one who is way more lax on the rules, and Orugio is supposed to be more strict. I mean, that's literally his job in this, but the problem is he cares about Keyfree too much. He cares about people too much in general. You can see that. He's kind of like a GOT where he's not the most open about his feelings. I need to see a GOT and Orugio interact. That'd be really interesting. I think they're two peas in a pod. But because Orugio is just too nice for his job title. I wouldn't say too nice for his own good. Well, maybe. I mean, it depends on the consequences of him not doing his job. It's a dynamic I've seen before. I can't think of any specific examples from other stories, but I know I've seen it before. And again, lack of originality doesn't equal bad. It just equals, it's just like, okay, how's this executed? You know, because there's only so much originality you can have in storytelling. It's just a matter of taking these preconceived concepts that are just a part of humanity and, you know, making a compelling story out of it that allows the author to speak from their heart, to say whatever they want to say. I've really been enjoying this reaction series because it gives me an opportunity to think about writing and to make to put my thoughts about writing out there in an easy way that doesn't require a whole lot of editing or scripting, but also it doesn't take as long as like a live stream would, because I like to stream like 4 hours average on a stream. This entire thing is specifically focused on talking about stories and arts, and this has just been really good, I think, for the exercising the creative part of my brain in a simpler way than trying to force myself to sit down and write something, which I love doing, but doing it too much leads to burnout. It can be kind of hard for me sometimes, as much fun as I have doing it. It's nice to just sit back and analyze stories in a laid back way, where like I don't pressure myself in these reactions to be like 100% correct on everything I say. I'm just yapping. I'm just having fun yapping. Whether or not everything I say is true, I don't care. I'm just having fun. And it's like, could I put more effort into the editing for these videos? Yeah, but that's less time I can spend on doing other things. And I think these videos are fine the way they are. They could be better, and maybe one day I'll be able to afford to have an editor to make them more engaging and have more like, when I mention something, it gets popped up on screen. But if I do that now, it would like double the amount of time it takes me to edit these. So I'd rather just keep it simple right now. I also like the idea, because I was watching a video the other day. It was a great video and everything. Like the topic was really good and everything. And I'm just watching the video and like the super fancy editing and everything. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with having that fancy editing. I just don't like the precedent that's sent that you can't be an interesting YouTuber. I'm not saying this person is even trying to set that precedent. It's just the style that they want to pursue. But I don't like the mindset of your content needs to be high quality for it to be worthwhile to be made. You need to work yourself up from making simple content to making more flashy type stuff. And I'm like, do we have to though? You know what I mean? Like, does our content as YouTubers, does our content have to evolve? What's wrong with keeping it simple, you know? I'm speaking very generally here, but I guess when it comes to like specifically videos targeted around talking about art and stuff, it's like, what's wrong with keeping it simple? Because sometimes flashy editing can kind of distract from the point of the video to where you're more focused on the visuals and not the actual point of the video. I do think good editing can complement the script, but I do see videos that are like where the visuals take way too much focus. Like they're kind of a little too good. You know what I mean? I don't know. This probably doesn't mean much coming from me because I am a very tiny channel. If anyone needs to hear this, just as a creator in general, you don't have to be a YouTuber. Just a creative person. Maybe stop trying to hold yourself up to the standards of people that have big budgets. You know, if you're just one person and you want to make cool stuff, you want to make stuff like this, like what you see other people making, like studios or just bigger indie creators or whatever, and you want to get on that level of quality, maybe ask yourself what's wrong with making more imperfect things, making things that have less budget behind them. Like, what's wrong with that? I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, I'm not gonna get into the context behind why I drew this. It's basically my friend's Sona combined with Master Wu from Ninjago. I just drew this yesterday just on a whim, and I just had fun making it. And honestly, if this makes anyone else laugh, which actually it already has when I shared it with my friends, honestly, that's all I need. Could I have tried to make this high quality? Yes, although I'm not really that great at drawing anyway, so I'm uncertain how far I would have gotten with that. But like, I don't know, this was just fun to do just on its own. I didn't really need to perfect it in order to be satisfied with it, because it was just like, I just wanted to make a little silly thing, and that was enough for me. I probably would have gotten burnt out on this if I tried to do any more with this than what you see here. It's really bad, but at the same time, the imperfection, I think, kind of adds to the character of it. Maybe that's an excuse. Hopefully that helps illustrate what I'm trying to talk about in terms of just the whimsy of creating for the sake of creating and not necessarily trying to live up to the standards that I think, unfortunately, a lot of art has been held up to in times. I don't know if in recent times or in a long time. I don't really know, but in times in our society. And I can't talk about that without getting into the reality of sometimes it's best for people to take their creativity and to try to make a career out of it, because they're not really, they have a hard time doing anything else. I get that. That is a harsh reality of it. You can't, we all need to do something to make money to survive. I could make these videos free on my Patreon, but I feel like getting a little something out of it wouldn't hurt me. Because of my disability, I'm having to rely almost entirely on my family to take care of me. And I would like to get to the point where I don't have to do that, to where I can be earning from some of my creativity to take the load off of my family a little bit. But I'm just trying to find a decent balance of that, because if I lean too hard into trying to make a business out of all this. First off, I just don't have like the energy for that. Like the energy required to be like a super successful content creator, to become one quickly. First off, it's not even certain that you're going to become one just because you put in that effort. But I don't have that energy. That's, you know, why I'm in the situation that I'm in the first place. So I just try to find a decent balance between doing what's within my physical limitations, but also trying to make a little something out of what I do. Like, I could charge more for my Patreon exclusive reaction videos where you can watch them without copyright filters, but I feel like the barrier of entry for it would be much, like, I feel like the potential for me to make money off of that would be higher by having it be just like $1 a month as opposed to like $10. I feel like I would get more out of, like, I don't know, 50 people paying for the $1 as opposed to 2 paying for the $10, you know what I mean? So I just try to make the options there for people to support me, but at the end of the day, I want the heart of the stuff that I put out there to be purely out of the joy of making them, which is why I don't put so much effort into the editing and stuff in these videos, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of the editing. I'm more a fan of the if I do scripted videos, I have more fun doing the scripting part, and I have more fun for the unscripted videos just yapping like this. Editing isn't really something I enjoy that much, so I try to do less of the stuff that I don't enjoy and more of the stuff that I do enjoy, in order to avoid burnout, so I can, you know, do any creating at all. Because if I'm burnt out, then I'm not gonna feel like doing anything. So I'm just trying to find a nice balance, and that's why I encourage seeking more intrinsic value in creating where you can, as opposed to the extrinsic value that comes out of the fear of trying to survive, basically. It's a tricky subject, because you can't just say, oh, just do art for the sake of it, for doing it for love, because it's like, unfortunately, unless you're a kid who's being, who doesn't really have any responsibilities, it's not a privilege that we all have. We all have to make sacrifices in order to survive. It sucks, but that's the reality of it. I don't even remember what set me off on that topic. I think it has something to do with Orugio. I don't know. And maybe that wasn't totally relevant to the episode itself, but you know what? Hat Atelier is art, and that was a very arts-focused topic. So, like, comment, subscribe. I don't know, man. I loved the anyone who knocks will be... Because, like, I don't think if you knock, like, you're actually going to be cursed. I don't see an actual spell on this door. I think that's basically just his equivalent of, you know, no girls allowed. You know, the kind of thing that you'll see on, like, a teenager's door to their bedroom kind of thing. Like, that's literally what this is. It seems... So, Tedia seems to be leaning into, like, cloud-type magic. Keyfree leans into water magic. I guess Orugio... Let me put something on screen that more represents what I'm talking about here. Orugio seems like he's very focused on light magic. So I wonder what Coco's going to be focused on. Right now, she's learning mostly fire spells, but I think that's already a GOTS thing. I'm not saying they can't both have the same thing, but I wonder what, like... Again, I'm just speaking out loud. Please don't actually answer this question for me, because that's spoilers. I wonder what, like, Coco's, like, focus is going to be. Maybe she won't have a focus. Maybe she'll be, you know, maybe her style's going to be more unorthodox. Kind of seems like that's where the story's going with her style. Yeah, it was really nice to see the glowing path magic again. The fact that Coco actually got to meet the person that made that is really cool. And like I said, it helped to break the ice between the two characters. Before I go, I wanted to do some stream promo and show off my Hat Atelier characters that I made in Tamagotchi Life. So I made Keyfree here. Funny enough, 2 of his best friends so far, which are actually more acquaintances, aren't even Witch Hat characters. Yeah, I'm sure somebody can make a better version of this, mostly with the hair. I'm actually really proud of the way the monocle turned out, but I think the hair could probably look better. I'm not the best at, like, doing all the texturing and stuff, but honestly, I'm really happy with this. This was a lot of fun to make. Now, the Coco one, I think, is my best one. I think she looks really good. I even made sure to emphasize the blush, that face she has when she's just, like, seeing magic, you know. I got surprisingly pretty close to the hair too. I didn't have to draw the hair or anything. It was I just used the settings that are already in the game. We've got a GOT here. I definitely leaned more into the anime hair colors, because I know in the manga I think her hair is pure black. Like, even when she's illustrated for color, like on the covers and stuff, her hair is pure black, but she's got like a hint of purple in her hair in the anime, so I wanted to lean more into that here. I also really like the way Tedia turned out. She just is like, her face is just in this like permanent like pog expression. And like I said, with the hair, it's not totally accurate, but I think it gets the idea across. It's definitely very Tedia coded. And then I've got Riche here, which looks great from the front, but you can see here, I might need to fix the hair. It looks kind of weird when she turns her head. It looks weird. Yeah, those are my Hat Atelier characters in Tamagotchi Life, and this was my reaction. So until next time, I do my streams Tuesdays through Saturdays, starting at 3 p.m. each day. And remember that art is magic.